Hello all, Simple Strength Training here, Matt Ross. This is my week 5 diary for my preparation for the upcoming Capo event at 618 Barbell in Paraka and for the GPC event at Southern Strength and Conditioning down at Seaford 3 weeks after. The Capo event at 618 is on the 23rd of October, so not long now. Lifting usually starts at 9 a.m. and goes through to 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Come down, watch a little bit, see if you like it. Stick around if you do. If not, just come down and have a bit of a look and enjoy the atmosphere and all the nice people that'll be there having a bit of fun. There's normally a coffee van and some food, food truck there of some description. It's a good day and everyone enjoys themselves. Alrighty, before we get on with that, we'll get through the bit that everyone seems to chuck at the front of these things. It's just the housekeeping part of it. If you like what you're hearing here at the moment, go down the bottom, subscribe, like the video, share my channel with your friends, share me around. I don't mind that. Quite enjoy it sometimes. No, just kidding. But yeah, no, share and like and tell all your friends about my videos and stuff, or coming to train with me. I am also a personal trainer, but if you want to know more about that, just get in contact with me and we can chat more about that. This week's diary will be obviously about my training this week and how that's going. Also, we will have a look at my day 3 training of the week, go into that a bit closer, plus how I'm planning my lifts out for the 2 events as they're really close together, and also what I take in the bag and what food I take with me just for the day. All right, we get into the week that was this week for week 5 of my diary, and as always it started with an upper body day or chest day. It started with my comp bench press or my heavy bench press with my heavy set, and that's moved from down into the 2s. Once again here I did a set of 3, but that was all because it felt like it was moving really well, and I went for the 3rd one and it went up reasonably well still. The volume sets following that have dropped down into sets of 3 though now. I'm doing them for 5 sets of 3. And the 5th set of those volume sets is a max rep set. So I just see how many I can get out when I start to struggle with getting the weight to lock out. And that's more or less sort of when the form breaks down for me. I find it just gives that little bit of extra work without adding too much fatigue to myself through the sets. And if that happens to be at 3, that happens to be at 3. So in this case, this week it happened to be at 5, which means I'm progressing pretty good, and means that to me that I'm sort of my plan's in place for my bench and it's going well. Day 2 was a squat day. This one, I will not lie, was really hard. Last week, the weight moved really well and I felt really strong under the bar. Could have been, for whatever reason, I was just having a great day. This week, unfortunately, it was a struggle. It was hard work. And the rest of the day, I felt really, really fatigued. Like I felt very drained, and like that whole rest of that day was just an effort to get through to make myself keep getting up and going. I even made sure I only did about 5,000 steps, where normally I sort of try and sit around 10,000 steps for the week. On average a day, just to let my body heal and get over that fatigue. I was a little bit scared that I might have hit the wall. I woke up Wednesday and just did my normal, went for a walk in the morning like I normally do for 20 minutes, half an hour on the treadmill with a little bit of incline work. Spent 5-10 minutes on the push bike, and then did some mobility work after that. And I felt pretty good. I actually felt quite recovered. And for the rest of the day, I took it easy. I did hit my 10,000 steps, but I seemed to have recovered from it. So I'm sort of feeling that it was a lack of sleep. And I just played the rest of the week by ear, just seeing how I went with my fatigue and that after my workouts. So after my day 3 one, I felt pretty good. I didn't feel at all drained or anything like that. I had a good night's sleep as well, a reasonable night's sleep for those 2 nights. coming up to my day 4 training. That was my heavy deadlift day. Once again, that felt like I was fine, 100% okay. The weights moved really well. Well enough that I did an extra rep on my heavy set and didn't feel like that hit me at all in any way, shape or form. And the following day felt pretty good. I didn't feel tired or anything. The rest, I felt the workout for the rest of the day, but that was normal workout fatigue from like the back work that I do after my deadlift, just to get that back work in and keep up a bit of volume on my back. As far as the fatigue side of it went, I'm feeling pretty recovered now and pretty good. I don't feel like anything's sort of catching up with me. I'll see how this week plays out. And I'll talk a bit more about that later as I talk about how I'm planning my list for this week. Fatigue management's a hard thing to do. For me, I'm just sort of getting used to working through these preps and what works best for me working up to a competition. As I said, this is really only the second time I've prepped for a competition or tried to get my body ready for a powerlifting meet. And so far, I'm sort of thinking that I've got the deadlifts worked out at training a heavy once a week and then a light variation again later in the week or earlier in the week for me. I'll do my deadlift heavy at the end of the week and a lot of variation early in the week. The 3 days of training for my chest to get my bench up, or working on that, seems to be working quite well. I don't know if the 2 days of squatting is going as well as it did in my first prep. So I'm sort of thinking that I might need to do 3 days of squatting where I separate my heavy day, my medium day, and a lighter day, rather than how I am doing it, which is doing one heavy lift followed by my medium volume work. I don't know whether that's really working for me through this prep. We'll wait and see when we get to the end. Like I said, this week could have just been me feeling a bit tired, but I don't seem to feel as strong under the bar as I did last time. That could also be a mental thing, me getting into my own head, playing tricks on myself. I'm sort of hoping that is the case, and once I get past that mental barrier of just thinking it's not working, that on the day it'll all come together. But once again, you won't know that until you get to the day. Every meet's a bit different, and every day's a bit different. You can lay the best plans in the world to get on all the way up to meet day. Everything can go as perfectly as you want it to, and you'll get there and you just one bad night's sleep and it'll throw everything out of whack. And you just go and do the best you can on that day, the best that your body allows you to do. Because the aim here is longevity, not to break myself. Alrighty, so that was the week that was this week. A bit of a mixed bag for me as far as the training went. I'm sort of hoping it's helping me get some insights. How this is progressing is giving me some insights into how I sort of prep next time and how I'm looking at doing it for the next one. In saying that, that's why I keep a diary of my training. You write these things down when they're hard, when they're not, how you felt, that sort of thing. I'm more or less using this video for that, so I can go back over it and remind myself of these things that I'm going through now and what I did, so I can make changes for my next preparation next year at some stage. 5 or 6 months after this one, as I want to get in a bit more work to build up some of the muscle mass. But that's a whole other plan. We won't worry about that until later. We'll get into that one a bit later on as I have a bit more of a chat after these competitions. All right, as you've been listening, you've probably heard I'm a bit nasally. I've got a bit of sinus problem with the sinuses play up when the weather temperature starts changing on that. It's probably a change in pressure thing or just a change in temperature thing. I'm not sure, but I start sounding like I'm walking around with a peg on my nose. But anyway, let's have a look at my day 3 training. These are just I do a bit of shoulder work here, shoulder pressing and some variation work with my bench and all that sort of stuff and some other work just to give me a break from the competition lifts. Give my joints a bit of a break and just to give my body a bit of variation from doing the competition lifts. I start off with a narrow grip bench press on an incline, and I do this as a strength movement. The reason I do this as a strength in the strength area which is in the 6 rep area, 4 reps for 4 sets, is because I still get a reasonable workout as far as the effort goes. It still makes me feel like I'm pushing against a heavy weight, and it gives me that same experience, but with a lot less stress on my body. And it's something I recover from reasonably well. Once again, it's a narrow grip. That takes a bit of pressure off my shoulders and my joints and that for bench pressing, but still gives my chest a bit of a workout and also helps with building up that tricep strength. I find I get the best result from it when I do the narrow grip in an incline position. It just seems to be pretty effective for me at the moment. That might change in the future, but at the moment it seems to work. So that's what I stick with. I suggest that you do that when you find something that's working and giving you the results that you're looking for. Just stick with it until it does, and change it then, and probably not before. After that, I'd like to do a bit of shoulder work. Once again, this is a pressing movement. It's overhead press, a strict overhead press with a barbell. I do a heavy set, and I back that up with 3 sets at 10% less than around about 10% less than the heavy set. These are done for sets of 5 to 8. Once again, still that in that heavy realm of rep range, but it also gives me that feeling of pushing against something heavy as well, without a lot of physical stress that I have to recover from. So I do that for as many reps as I can in that 5 to 8 rep range. I work that up until I get to 8, then put the weight up. At the moment, I'm hitting 61 kilos for 8 reps. And then I do a back off set at around about 56 kilos for 3 sets of 8. After that, I move on to some dips. Once again, it's a bit of chest work and tricep work, just working on the strengthening, adding a bit of strength into those movements. I do a body weight dip for as many as I can to start with just my body weight. And then I do some assisted ones after that. I can't do very many body weight dips, so I find doing the assisted dips after my first volume set, which I do for another 3 sets afterwards. Looking for sets of 10 across on that one. For the assisted dips, I'm looking at sets of 10, and I'm just looking for whatever I can do in the first body weight dips. I find that also just helps with developing a bit of chest mass, a bit of strength through the chest and the arms. Doesn't seem to worry my shoulders or elbows and anything a great deal doing dips, so I'm okay with them for me. Once again, like I said before, if something's working for you, keep doing it. And I quite enjoy them. I enjoy the feeling I get from them. I feel pretty good after doing them. After that, I do a side raise. These are done in rep pause style. I do that following the dog crap method, or Dante Trudell's method. That's where you do a max set, followed by 2 more sets separated by about a 20 to 30 second rest. Once again, this is looking for a total of 15 reps across all 3 sets. So that's adding each set together for a total. And if you hit 15 reps, your weight goes up. If you don't, you stay at that same weight. You do these until they stop progressing. Once they haven't progressed for 2 or 3 weeks, it's time to change. Following that, I do some tricep pushdowns. I follow the same method with this one. Just a 30-second rep pause again, exactly the same process. Except for this one, I aim to hit 15 reps in the first set is my target. I still do the 30-second rest between the sets for working in the maximum effective rep range, just to keep that work high and the workout's a bit shorter as well. This helps with. My target there is 15 reps in the first set rather than a total of 15 reps across all 3. I just find that helps with keeping me interested. It creates a little bit of variation without too much change. And it just helps me think I'm doing something a little bit different each time. So that was my day 3. Just a quick overview of it again. It's a bench press variation with an incline narrow grip bench, some overhead press barbell work just to keep some work in the shoulders, followed with some dips, some side raises or lateral raises, finished up with some more tricep work. Alrighty, now we'll probably just have a quick look at how I'm planning my lifts for for the upcoming meets and the way I'm doing it and why I'm doing it. I'm basically working up to using the Capo event as a tester for my opening lifts for the GPC event and to see how I'm feeling on the day. My plan is to do my openers for the GPC event in November as my second lifts at the Capo event. If I feel like I'm okay and I can do another lift without draining myself too much, I will, but it'll give me the option to drop that third lift, which you're allowed to do. If you choose not to do the third lift or another lift after you have a successful lift, that's fine. You can do that. You can choose not to do a lift at any time. But once again, you need to have at least one successful lift in each of the three in order to record a total for the competition. So I'll do my first one. The second one will be my openers for the GPC event in November. And if I feel okay, I'll do a third just to see where I'm at and see how that feels. I've got a feel that will not a feeling. I know that will not be much higher than my second one, as I don't want to fatigue too much. That sort of works in with where my training is going leading up to both of the events. So those weights that I'll be planning on lifting are sort of are pretty much right on with where my training weeks are evolving. So my bench press and my squat, those weights will be weights that I would have been lifting on Monday and Tuesday anyway, or day 1 and day 2 of my training week, which is normally a Monday and a Tuesday. And my deadlift for the Capo event, sorry, that's the Capo event I'm talking about right now, will be the lift that I would have been doing on Friday or my day 4 of training. So basically, I've done it that way so I don't have to do a deload if I don't have to. That might be bonkers. You might be sitting there going, this bloke doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I'll hang up now and stop listening to him and go and look at someone else. But if you don't try things, you never know how they sort of work out. Would I probably suggest doing this if I was training someone? No. But this is for myself. And this is just me working into my plan. If I ever do get a trainee that wants to do competitions like this close together, I'll have an idea of how it's going to feel for them as I go through it. And the best way to know how to train someone is to experience it yourself. Without the experience of doing it, you can't. It's hard to have other people trust that you know what you're doing when you're doing it. So that's pretty much how I've planned it out. So I'm sort of hoping that the way it's looking, my openers for the GPC event will be pretty close or pretty much right on what my max lifts were for my first novice event, and working up from there. They may be a little bit less so I leave a bit in the tank for the other lifts. That's why I'm just going to see how those lifts go at the Capo event. I'm sort of hoping this won't burn me out. And if I do feel a bit burnt out, I'll take a deload week after this week, which still gives me another week and a half to prepare basically for the GPC event and get my body back into the run of doing things. That's pretty much why I've arranged my training the way it is. So I'm lifting nothing that's outside of what my plan was, so I don't burn out and I don't have to work in that deload, which I'm still keeping a close eye on my fatigue levels to make sure I don't have to. But the way it's looking at the moment, if I stick to the plan that I've put in place, I should be right with those lifts being worked in as part of my ongoing plan, with how I've planned out that whole 10-week period, or in my case, this is an 8-week period. I think it's going to work out to be about an 8-week period, 8 or 9-week period, if you include the rest week before the actual GPC event. If you have any questions about why I'm doing that, or any criticisms or anything like that, hit me up in the comments below. I'll be happy to hear what you've got to say. I'm always open to suggestions. I'm always willing to listen. Right, so now we get to what do I take to a lifting comp in my bag. Well, first of all, I have a bag to carry it all in. I guess that's the fairly obvious one. Sorry about that. It's my mastermind subject, stating the obvious. from this picture you're looking at now, you can see this is pretty much what I will be taking in my bag, short of a couple of other things that you would store in a fridge. One of them for me being my meals, which I buy from Core Power Foods. They're great meals. They're not the highest quality meal you'll buy, but they're by far well above the worst. Price-wise, for the meals you get, they are an excellent value meal, and the quality is pretty high. I won't say it's the highest quality by any standards, but it's a really high quality food for the price you're paying. And they're everything's pre-measured for you. It saves me having to do meal prep. It saves me about 4 or 5 hours a week in total meal prep time. And I enjoy eating them. They're a good quality meal, good value, and I like them. From that, you'd probably think I've been paid by them with my thousands and thousands of subscribers to my channel. No, I'm not. I'm raking in probably negative cents for mentioning them. They're probably going to ask me to pay them, but no, they're pretty good. Outside of that, the other thing that's not on there is the protein that I take with me. I buy that from Bulk Nutrients. Everyone knows who Bulk Nutrients are. And once again, they don't throw any money at me either. They're a great product. They've got a wide range of product. I like their protein and their protein mixes. Their protein matrix I just found out from winning in one of their competitions. Get onto that. They run competitions every week where you can win stuff just by liking and tagging a name in the post. And I've won 3 or 4 times through that. Back to what's in my bag. First of all, I'll start with the food. I like to keep up the energy through the day. So from there you can see I've got some water bottles, a thermos, some coffee there, some lollies, biscuits and some sultanas. I've also put down Panadol, which you can't actually see because of the reflection from the light. It's just 500 milligrams of paracetamol tablets, pretty much. They're a precaution. I take them with me everywhere. I don't say you have to take anything like that with you as far as the paracetamol goes, but I take headache tablets with me everywhere I go. I like to have some lollies, which through diet and exercise I've been able to get back to having. After having type 2 diabetes, I keep it under control. I don't go crazy with them. I only have 2 or 3 or 4 at a time of the actual individual lollies, which is between half and a full serve of them according to the packet. And I space that out. Also have some biscuits in there because I like the biscuits. They're easily digested and they give me a nice bit of energy and I enjoy the taste. And I also have some spare coffee there in case I want some more coffee. My water bottles are one of those Boost vitamin drink things. Once again, Boost not my sponsor. If you want to, go for it. Chuck some at me for free. I'll mention this every time I get on the internet. But no, I use them. I like them. I like the taste of them, and I wouldn't tell you to use them if I didn't like them. I'm not saying that you have to have them. I'm not saying they're the best in the world or anything like that either, but I like to have that bit of a vitamin supplement in my diet just as a stopgap. And it's the performance one or the energy one, I think it is. Sorry, the energy one. So it's got a little bit of caffeine chucked in there with it. So it helps give me a bit of a boost through the day. I also add a little bit, 2 or 3 teaspoons of sugar to them when I'm at a lifting comp, just to help give me a bit more energy through the day, keep my energy levels up rather than eating all day. That just also help keep my fluid up. These are all things that I eat normally, and that's probably the biggest suggestion I make. If you're going to go to a lifting comp, don't take a whole heap of food or anything that you wouldn't normally eat through the day. Everything that's there, I eat normally. I eat every day. I might not eat the same amounts when I'm at a lifting comp, but I might not eat it at the same times or anything like that, but it's all food that I regularly eat. So my body's used to digesting it. And that's a really important thing, is if you try to go outside your diet and start taking in food you don't normally eat, it'll throw you a bit out of whack. So don't just wing it and buy some stuff that's there that you're not used to eating, because you don't know how that's going to affect you. When you finish, go out and have one of your favourite meals or something like that afterwards, or something you wouldn't normally eat after the lifting comp, but don't go having it before or during the comp, simply because it might throw you out of whack on the day. What I also recommend is the night before, eat a few more carbs from sources that you're already eating, some things that you eat, once again, that you're used to digesting and stuff, but just lift your calorie intake up a little bit the night before, not by a great deal. but just to help add in a bit more energy for the coming day. So you've got that stored energy ready to go. Believe me, you'll use it on the day. You're going to be lifting some heavy weights and warming up to lift those heavy weights. And the energy and the excitement of the day will help burn some calories too, because that'll get the adrenaline going and everything. So it will definitely help out there. Also, what else is in there? I've got some shoes. So I got 2 pairs of shoes. I got the shoes I squat in. I also wear them to bench in. They're my Adidas Powerlifts. They only got a 1/2 inch heel on them. I'm not a big fan of the 2 inch heel or the 3/4 inch heel. I don't like being too high. I started squatting flat footed for the first whatever number of years, 7, 8 years I was squatting. Well, actually not even that long. I didn't start squatting until about halfway through my journey. So probably only 2 or 3 years of squatting. I was squatting flat foot. And when I put these on, I found these were the most comfortable. So I tried a higher heel and didn't really like them that much. Felt that I was a bit uncomfortable with them then. So I quite enjoy wearing these ones, and they seem to work pretty good for me. I'm not saying that won't change down the track, but at this point in time, that's what I like to squat in. The other ones are my deadlift shoes. I was just wearing a barefoot shoe before that, but I find it didn't really have any like instep support or anything like that, and I felt a little bit loose on my foot when I was standing there. So I bought a pair of the notorious Samurai lifts. But no, they're actually quite a comfortable shoe to wear, and it was more so because I've got flippers for feet. And no, I'm not a very good swimmer, and I'd do a dolphin impression for you, but it would sound horrible. They were basically the size that I could get that would fit me, and they're quite comfortable to wear. They're pretty good to wear. I don't mind wearing them. I'm actually toying with, after this comp, doing a lot of my deadlifting in my lifting shoes, because I'm finding with the new style that it's putting me, with the new technique that I'm using to deadlift, that it's putting me in a slightly different position when pushing off the floor. And I've warmed up a couple of times with my squat shoes on and found that I sort of like the feeling, or I sort of think I feel a little bit stronger pushing off the floor in my squat shoes, but I won't find that out until after this comp, just so I don't change too many things leading up to the comp and confuse myself mentally with what I'm trying to prepare for. And we shouldn't do that anyway, make too big a changes moving into the comp. And for me, changing the shoes that I'm deadlifting in is a big change. Also in there, you'll see some clothes, a towel, my diary, and some tape and a pair of scissors. So I'll go with the tape and the pair of scissors first. The tape and the scissors are for me for deadlifting. That's because I do a hook grip. I wrap the tape around my thumbs just to help protect my thumbs a little bit. My thumbs seem to stand up to the hook grip quite well. They don't give me any trouble. I swapped over to it probably about 9 months ago, and found that initially it hurt to use a lot. It was quite uncomfortable. I'll say that again. I'll say something different there. It was really uncomfortable. I won't say it was really painful. It was more really, really uncomfortable. There's a little bit of pain involved, as there is with a lot of things in lifting, but it was just more so very uncomfortable to do. Generally now when I do it, I hook grip whenever I start to lose my physical grip holding onto it. So say when I'm warming up, I'll keep warming up until my normal overhand grip starts to fail, and I'll just swap the hook grip, because I find I've got long fingers and big hands in that. I can get my fingers into the right position for them. I will say with hook grip, sometimes it's not the right thing for some people because their hands aren't big enough, or their fingers aren't big enough to get the thumb around the bar properly. But for me, it's pretty much feels exactly like I'm using straps to lift. So I don't mind doing it. Also there, you'll see my diary. I take that with me because it's got my planned lifts in it. And like I said before, whatever you've planned to lift, stick to it. And when I say planned, I mean you have any changes you want to make to it on the day planned in there as well. So if you're feeling great and fantastic after that second lift or the first lift, and you want to push your second and third lifts up, have a plan there to do that. Don't go crazy with it, but have your plan there in place to do it. And vice versa, or alternatively, if you're not feeling as great on the day and you feel it after that first lift or during your warm-ups, have a plan in place there where you adjust your lifts for a little bit less. That's important to have. So have those numbers in there. Have that plan already there, because it will help stop you having to worry about anything else other than just going out there and lifting the weights. If it feels good, go to the ones that are higher. If it feels worse, go to the ones that are lower. That's what I would suggest. It's probably one of the best things I can recommend you do as far as your day for lifting goes, is make sure you have that plan, because just in yourself, you'll feel a lot more comfortable and confident knowing that you decided what you're going to lift for the day. You know what you're going to lift, whether you're going to lift lighter, the weight you've originally aiming for, or a little bit more. It's all there laid out for you, ready to go. And it just makes everything just that little bit better for you and takes that little bit more off your mind that you have to worry about on the day. Also there you'll see a towel. That's a pretty standard thing to take to any gym, is a towel. Everyone sort of takes them with them. I sweat a bit, especially when it starts to get hotter. I tend to sweat. A light switch makes me sweat. Dunk. Also, you'll see my soft suit. The soft suit there, just above the shirt, is something you have to wear. Everyone has to wear a soft suit when they lift, regardless of gender. Simply because when it comes to seeing where you squat, the movement, and seeing your hips lock out and deadlift and all those sort of things, it makes it easier for the judges to tell that you're hitting depth and things are getting locked out and everything's getting into the depth and positions that they're looking for. To me, I feel like, what would you say? I feel like a sports car that has no aerodynamics when I put one on. I feel sleek and fast, but have the aerodynamics of an old Volvo from the 1980s. But in saying that, for me, they were a lot more comfortable to lift in than I first thought they would be. I thought they'll be quite uncomfortable, to be honest, restrictive in some way maybe, but yet the right size. To me, that feels excellent. I actually prefer to train in them now, a soft suit now, than I do with shorts than I do with just normal shorts or tracksuit pants. But once again, each to their own. Also there you'll see a pair, that's all folks, spare pair of socks and jocks. I wear compression socks all day anyway, so it makes that sort of decision pretty easy for me as far as what sort of deadlift socks I'm going to wear. It sort of works out easy for me. I wear them because I got bitten by something 15 years ago, long time ago. And I would recommend you take a spare pair of deadlift socks just in case. You never know what's going to happen. I also take a spare pair of jocks, and that's for obvious reasons. You don't want to be doing any spray painting inside the pants and feeling uncomfortable as you go through your lifts if you can help it. And if that happens, you've got something to change into afterwards. And once again, just a spare shirt, just in case I get real sweaty and uncomfortable and things like that. I also have a singlet, which is not in the picture, but I also wear a singlet underneath my shirt through the day as well. And lastly, spot the rather obvious brain fart here. And I didn't include my lifting belt in that picture when I first did it. So insert edit. Yeah. Also have a lifting belt. It's just an old 2-prong one I got from Dermot's years ago. I've been using it for ages and it's sort of worn into me. So I take that with me as well. I've tried the wider 4-inch ones that are a bit thicker, a bit more solid. I've got one from Loaded Lifting, but I find it very uncomfortable to deadlift in. And rather than taking 17 belts, I just take the one belt because I'm quite comfortable deadlifting and squatting in both of them. So yeah, that's everything I take with me to a powerlifting meet. It doesn't always all fit in my bag. Sometimes I have to take a backpack with me as well. It's got some extra stuff in it, the food and all that sort of stuff. Then a cold pack if I want to keep things cold. But outside of that, there, what I recommend you take with you, and obviously any headphones or anything like that. If you do like you wear headphones and that, I would recommend you take a spare pair of headphones along with you. So there we go. That's what I take to a powerlifting meet. All right, people, that brings us to the end of this week's diary. I hope you found it pretty informative. As always, I enjoy doing them. And I look forward to next week's diary because that'll be the one after the Capo meet this coming Sunday on the 23rd of October. Lifting starts at 11 a.m. Come on down, bring some friends, bring your family. It's a fun day for everyone. There's a lot of loud music and that going on as you'd expect, but come on down and have some fun if you just want to have a look and check it out and see what's going. Otherwise, have a great time staying strong for life, people. I'll see you again soon.